Missions Pulse. Know God's heart, join his mission.
You know what I love? When I was writing The Mind of a Missionary, my recent book, I was making these parallels between past historical generations and going back to what sociologists call the missionary generation. They're not missionaries, but it is the missionary generation before, the Great Generation, and then, but 1860 to 1884, the missionary generation. Their values, characteristics are so represented and mirrored by millennials today. I was amazed to see all these different people writing that the missionary generation is returning in today's millennials and younger with very similar attributes to these people who were the missionary generation. And from the missionary generation were actual evangelical missionaries. I mean, Hudson Taylor, C.T. Studd, Amy Carmichael, all are like heroes of the missions world. Were from the missionary generation. And sociologists, can you help me with that word?
I don't know. Sociologists?
There you go. Call them.
Yeah.
And so they're there. These attributes of wanting to change the world, of wanting to rid the world of injustice. You have trafficking and sex slavery, and man, there's an adventure to be called to.
Right.
But you were mentioning a while ago as well about a balance too. I mean, what does that look like for you when you're talking about there's a balance in calling people to the mission field?
Yeah. I mean, talking about the previous generation for a second, I think I think you're right. I think there's so many parallels and similarities. There's good reason to champion and expect this generation and the next generation to do and accomplish amazing things for the Lord. I think some of the differences between those generations and this is more what's been available to them. And I would say for better and for worse, I don't know that ease of transport and technology is always the best tool at hand, because some of these guys, back in the day, they had to endure 2 and 3 and 4 month voyages just to get to where they wanted to be or more. You have to write a letter and wait for it however long to get there, and hopefully make it up the river in the jungle or whatever, distance it has to go through the embassies and then get the reply,
And not only that, I've always wondered how they actually got their money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think
checks are sent around the world. How were those cashed? How were they
I
sent?
wasn't there, so I don't really know. I know that they had a
that.
network and they made it happen. Some of them were pretty radical. But all that to say, they also had, I feel, a very firm foundation on the Word of God, which is something that I think a lot of people in these last couple generations, and even myself, have struggled with, feeling like I really am just immersed in the Word of God enough to where I feel like I'm in tune with what He's doing, and I'm confident to work in the ways of God and not just my own ways, because that just gets me into trouble. But tempering what I bring to the table as, someone God gifted and created, along with His ultimate plan. And I think sometimes the convenience factor of the Western world, things being so quick to happen, I think the social media, all the strengths of communication it brings, the weaknesses of just the instantaneous connection you can have, and sometimes you just don't get that.
Well, there's not a depth to it.
There's not a depth to it, and that it's the depth of relationships and the realness of walking with the Lord during some very trying times that gets you through those times, as opposed to like more kind of surface conversations and pictures of my dessert I had today.
No, my Instagram followers helped me get through tough times.
That's right. Well, no, absolutely. And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like it really is the depth of relationship with God and God's people that's going to carry you through any adversity, any challenge, like in missions. And I think also like being able to hop on a plane, just go back and forth. That's amazing. Thank God for that. At the same time, it makes it easy for you to kind of like run back to your comfort zone.
Yeah. Another reason for missionary attrition.
Yeah, it's not always the best.
Yeah,
it's not always for the best. And I think it's unfortunate. We experienced this just moving to Thailand in the beginning. We had a 1-year visa, and we couldn't renew in country to renew out. So it meant right at 1 year, we've got to leave Thailand and go back to our home country actually and apply for a new visa. Well, in missions, that first year's tough. It's the hump. You got to get over the hump. You got to get to the top of that mountain, and then things start looking a little better on the other side of 1 to 2 years. If you leave right at that 1 year and things aren't going well,
Yeah.
You're feeling it. You know, the honeymoon is done. A lot of people decide to not get that visa and come back, or you know, it's a challenge. And so there's these kind of things, you know, where it's like, well, you know, the ease of some of these things, I think, what I'm trying to say is a difference between what you were forced to do and what you have available you know, these days. And so, but I think the real fundamental thing was the Word of God. And I think a lot of us and a lot of young people, you know, this newest generation really need to just fight for understanding how powerful the Word of God is. It just seems like this book. It just seems like this you know, old school thing. And yet it really does have power. It really does transform and revolutionize your life and the world. It can. But I think it's so simple right now. It's just kind of put, you know, over to the side.
Missions Pulse. Know God's heart, join His mission. This podcast is powered by Within Reach Global. Subscribe, watch, and listen on YouTube today. Visit missionspulse.com.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that video, leave a comment below. Tell me what you thought. Also, you might want to check out this video here. And honestly, that one's not bad either. Make sure you subscribe to Missions Pulse by clicking the subscribe button right here, and also click that little bell button so you get notified every single time we post a new video.